Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Cape Rugby TV, where every Wednesday night we take a look at what's happening in the world of Western Province Club Rugby. Big thanks to our partners on board with us, Score Energy Drinks. Well, as you know, of course, Score is on board with Western Province Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby S11s, and you can win yourself a case of Score during the course of the show. We'll at least announce last week's winner. Remember, you go to Facebook to find out how. Of course, MChem 24-hour pharmacy on the corner of N1 and Durban Road down in Belleville. Folks, we of course keep talking to our club administrators to find out what it is that they are doing behind the scenes, and it is good to know that our club administrators remain busy as they keep their membership structures as active as possible during these difficult times. A lot of the administrators currently coming up with creative ways to make sure that their club's membership base stays active. And in fact, in some cases, as you will find out tonight, in fact, even growing. We'll catch up with Mohammed Steerman, is the president of Caledonia Roses. We go to the catch up with Young Ideas Deputy President Sabelo Mzyanwa, and we'll speak to Marius Ervia, who tells us a little bit about their pre-season activity. We also catch up with Langa Rugby Football Club. Sipho Ngobozi is the secretary there. And of course, as you know, we always catch up with our DHL Western Province Rugby women's side. And as usual, we go down to the training session. This week we catch up with Zintle Mpupa, Anik Geswind, Samankele Namba, as well as a Cindy Boy. Let's take a look and see what happened behind the scenes.
It's been tough, 9 weeks of work in and out, weekend playing each and every, like back to back, which is new to us, and we actually put our hand up showing everyone that we actually are a better province with all the facilities obviously and everything, and obviously with the help, like you said in the beginning, that all the coaches did put their hands up to actually help us, so that has helped us a lot, and we utilized all that knowledge and everything into our game as well. Well, yeah, it was a tough game against Sharks, obviously because of the rain, and most people like me, I never like playing in the rain because it feels so hard to actually control the ball, and you need to actually have ball in hand to go forward. But yeah, it's rugby is a winter sport, so you must actually expect those rainy days and just take it on your head and move on. And yeah, we started a bit slow, likewise I must say. It took a little bit longer, I must say, because it was the whole first 5-0, but second half we came back and then we put our hand up again and showed that we actually in the game and we can do it through the rainy weather. Yeah, I must say, first time into the finals with the new team against my previous team. It's going to be a huge one, I must say, but luckily I've played against them already, so everything is a little bit washed off. I'm not saying I'm relaxed or whatever, so now I at least know what to expect. And I know it's not going to be a very easy one. It's always going to be a physical one, and yeah, I'm just excited to actually be on that field for the finals again. Well, I must say it's almost like I don't know how to call it, but you do this week and then you somehow clean everything up the following week, if I may put it that way. It's almost like a short before the main movie kind of thing. So it's quite exciting. Not exciting. It's weird that you actually play the same team over the 2 weeks, but we actually up for the challenge.
Ja, nee, is nou wel 'n baie lang voorseisoen gewees met oefening en die springbokkamp vir die meisies wat by die kamp ook was. So die load was nogals baie gewees, maar die back-to-back ook, het eet nogals veral vir die meisies. Ek voel self, jy op 'n maandag, jy voel net, jy's moeg, jou liggaam is net pap, maar ek voel net die meisies word ook net beter elke week soos wat ons speel, word ons net beter. Ek sal nie sê dit was taaf om aan te pas, soos het nou al 'n paar oefensessies in die reën gehad waar ons die gevoel gehad het om in die nattigheid te speel. So het was nie vir ons regtig 'n groot aanpassing. Ek dink die meisies het dit ook geniet om 'n bietjie in die reën op Nieuweland ook te speel. Dit kan 'n goeie ding of 'n slegte ding vir ons uitwerk op die ou end. Ons weet nie, ons weet Bordeaux gaan wou vir ons wen nou, maar dan dink ons ook aan volgende week se finaal. So het gaan harde. Ons weet nie, ons kyk maar ons wil 10 uit 10 maak, maar ons wil ook nie, ons weet daar's 'n groter prentjie ook in sig. Maar ek dink ons vat maar eers vir die naweek, die naweek voor ons aan die finaal ding teen Bordeaux. Ek weet eers wat om te sê, ek voel net die meisies wat nou die jaar deurgekom het, veral in die backs, hulle het net die backline opgespaak, is net, jy weet as hulle die bal kry, hulle is weg, hulle gaan iets met die bal maak, so is exciting om hulle elke naweek in aksie te sien. Ek definitief lig ons motivation, sommige van die ouens, soos waar ek geland het, nou vir ons 'n paar games op Nieuweland kom kyk, help van die backline spelers hier ook met individual skills, wat om en wat wanneer om wat te doen, hoe om nie te skop nie, maar net vir hulle skills te verbeter. En ek dink dit is 'n goeie idee dat ons hier is, want alles is hier, die fasiliteite, alles. En dit is net exciting om elke dag, wanneer ons oefen, om net jou voete hier te kan insit.
Yeah, we are very excited because we haven't played for a while. So we're very excited. The feeling is very mutual because I've been dreaming to play for Western Province since Craven Craven Week, under 18 and under 16. My big dream was to play for Western Province. Even the girls, they welcome me. They very welcome me. It's very nice to play for Western Province. The support that we're getting from coach and the physios is very nice. It was, but first half it was very tough because we are not used to the rain. But at second half, the coaches they spoke with us. They told us how to play on the rain. Then we fixed it. Playing against Border is not that bad because I'm coming from Border. Border is my previous team, so it's not bad at all.
Each and every week it's getting better, but we know exactly now we are on game number 9. So like we're on game number 10, yes, before we play the final. So we just need to polish everything and make sure we are ready for the finals. Yeah, it does have in fact, but each and every team, when you are coming for the second round, they already watch our games and then they see where we're strong, where we're weak. So I can give them the credit and say that they work really hard and they check each and everything on our games. I think it's something that we need to fix in the games that we still left with. Like each and every game that we are playing now, we tend to delay our play, and then in the second half, that's only when we start to show that we can play. So if we can fix to the Border game in the final, it will be something that can help us now. Yes, we are looking forward. We know that it's not going to be an easy game, but we have to give everything that we have. If you want to be champions, we have to make sure that we work hard and we work smart at the same time. I can say that it's something that is good because now some of them, they're getting opportunities, and each time, even if it's next year, all of them will get opportunity because it's something that is growing. Like rugby in South Africa, it's something that is growing. So each and every girl that is coming on the practice, they learn new things and they will get the opportunity to come and play for the senior team.
Great to see our DHL Western Province Rugby women's side going from strength to strength and staying in good spirits. This was, of course, filmed earlier on in the week after their win against the Cell C Sharks women's side this past Saturday at Newlands. And if you had a chance to watch that live stream, well, you would have seen it was a very wet game, but playing some fantastic rugby, and it's really great to see that we've got some positive rugby action. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on talking about what's happening in the world of club rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. It's nice to have you along. We carry on talking about what's happening in the world of club rugby. Of course, now we know that COVID is here, the third wave is here. It's difficult times for the world of sport. A lot of sports structures doing the very best to stay connected, and club rugby is no different to that. And of course, folks, our clubs, of course, working hard to keep their members connected as we keep awaiting further announcements on when there will be changes with regards to the various sports regulations. But on the line with me now is Sipho Ngobosi, the secretary for Langa Rugby Football Club. Sipho, welcome back. Nice to have you back. How are you?
Good evening, JP. Thank you for the welcome. Yeah, it's good to be back and chatting club rugby again.
Yeah, so we've had a few conversations with some of our clubs. There was a bit of a phase of non-contact training a few months ago, and then there was a phase of some physical training, and then of course there were a couple of friendly fixtures. Walk us through. Tell us your last 3 months, 4 months. What's the activity been? Or how was it to get back to that? We know you had some interesting fixtures.
Yeah, no, look, it's been an interesting 3 to 4 months that have got us to where we are now. So yes, after we completed the 8-week program of returning to training, we managed to organize a few friendlies for the club. We managed to play 4, and it was quite. All of them were quite tough. I mean, we played the likes of Lagunya. We played the likes of I think, yeah. So some of the names have flashed now, but I mean, Lagunya was quite an interesting one. It's a local derby.
Well, I was going to say that's what everybody would think of as a derby match. You know, you put Langa and Lagunya on the field together, and it's one of the biggest derbies.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, all of those things had to happen without spectators. Was that a big thing for the players? Were they talking about the fact that there's a derby that they were able to play?
Yeah, no, the guys were quite excited. I mean, as I said, it's a local derby, so you don't need much in terms of motivation, be it with fans or not. The guys were keen, and obviously the adjustment of playing under these lockdown protocols on the field was quite an adjustment. However, our guys adhered to those quite well, and we managed to get on the field and get some game time.
And you also had a training camp for your players.
Yeah, we had a training camp which took place on the 16th of June. So it started roughly in the morning up until just the afternoon. So obviously the idea was to sort of work on all the things that were picked up during the friendlies in order to prepare us for the season. But then unfortunately, once the training camp happened, and then lockdown hit us once again. So it was back to a halt and back to the drawing board again.
Sipho, but you guys have had, I've spoken to many of the clubs about this. You've built up a lot of experience about how to keep your members active, a lot of experience in terms of how to stay connected using WhatsApp or whatever other creative tools, word of mouth. And that was a big experience that was built up in 2020 leading into the beginning of 2021. Have you been able to sort of now kick that into gear again to say, guys, we've got to go back to what we learned last year, to say we know that we don't know when there's going to be fixtures again, and we don't want to lose our members, and we've got to keep them engaged? Are you doing that sort of communication again now with your members and local community?
Yeah, no, I think you hit it spot on, JP. I think one of the things that we've learned during this period is openly communicating and engaging with our players, with our supporters. So what we have done is obviously open the lines of communication through WhatsApp, Facebook, and obviously formal and informal engagements. And one of the things that the club has done very well through sponsorship of a company called NutriPick is to be able to establish a soup kitchen, which has at this moment benefited mainly our under 20 players and some community members in the Khayelitsha area. So yeah, we're doing something to say, look, we are still around and we are here as a club. We're not going anywhere.
So even during the most difficult of times, you've been able to keep your members engaged, and on top of that, you've been able to bring in sponsorship, the kind of thing that many people would say during COVID is not possible. This is an incredible achievement.
Yeah, I know it's an awesome achievement which has been sorted by our executive. And obviously the initiative is just one that reaches the community through this trying time.
Yeah.
So it's been received well by the people that have benefited through this. And yeah, we keep knocking at doors even during these difficult times. So yeah.
Is there a message in that? Is there a message in that that sponsors can get involved and that sponsors can support club structures not only on the basis of fixtures, but that there are different ways to find and support club structures?
Yes, definitely, JP. There is an opportunity for sponsors to get involved with clubs. I mean, when I remember last year when lockdown hit us, I mean, we received donations such as food parcels, which we donated to the community and our players.
Yeah.
I mean, masks that we received to encourage people to stay safe. So there is definitely an opportunity for sponsors to get involved, apart from just making sure it's all about the fixtures and the action on the field. So there are the things that speak to the people that sponsors can get on board with.
That's an incredible incredible message there, Sipho. I think that's fantastic. It's a powerful message that you guys are putting out there and leading by example. So that's really well done, and congratulations from our side. And we pass that on to anybody watching the show right now, that Langa is bringing on board sponsors even in the absence of games. So that's fantastic. Sipho, I think we will leave it at that now. We know that you guys are still very busy. We're looking forward to finding out more information, seeing videos and photographs, even during these difficult times. And we'll just pass on the message to you and all the players and management. Stay safe. And we obviously can't wait for the next positive announcement.
Thank you very much, JP. Thanks.
There we go, folks. Sipho Mgobosi, of course, secretary for Langa Rugby Football Club, and they're doing fantastic stuff out there. And great to see that sponsors are coming on board with clubs, of course, and finding different creative ways to get involved. Right, folks. Well, as you know, on a weekly basis, we take a look at what's happening at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. Of course, there are public reviews that run on Google and Facebook, where the customers who visit MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy have an opportunity to give their input on their experience at the pharmacy. And of course, we take a weekly look at some of those comments that come in. Now, this week's 5-star ranking comes in from Nadia Samsudin. And Nadia says, the experience here is simply magnificent and delightful. I highly recommend MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy for their staff customer service, dedication, love and care. Heart shape and the products is of a high standard and good quality, suited to meet our needs and requirements. On entering the pharmacy, there is a COVID-19 walk-through temperature detector. My first experience of its kind. Let's support local business and help each other and the economy to become strong again. What a fantastic message from Nadia. Nadia Samsudin then, of course, giving MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy a 5-star ranking. And that is, of course, what we have come to get accustomed to at MChem 24-Hour Pharmacy. And just, of course, a reminder, of course, MChem is just off the corner of N1 and Durban Road, open 24 hours a day. And as I've said so many times, I love that free parking. And when you walk in, of course, the service is just absolutely fantastic. Folks, we'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on taking a look at what's happening in the world of club rugby. Welcome back, everybody. It's fantastic to be talking to you. We keep talking club rugby. We keep trying to stay connected. Of course, very important during these COVID times that we keep talking to our members, to keep talking to our clubs. And of course, we're giving you the opportunity to talk to your membership structure and tell them what's going on. But it's fantastic for us to know that we are reaching out to the clubs, and the clubs have not closed their doors. They're still talking to their members. They're still planning. And of course, we keep waiting for the further announcements and the next fixtures. Joining me on the line now, assistant coach at Durban, Marius Ervia. Marius, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV. How are you?
Hello, JP. Thank you very much for having me on again. Doing well, just getting very cold currently, but otherwise wanting to be on the field. But due to COVID, we can't, so I'm enjoying the time at home with my newborn.
Oh, congratulations! Is
Thank
in
you.
order then, I'm sure. Are you going to tell us? Is this a former women's rugby player or men's rugby player?
Women's rugby player. I've already got a men's rugby player, so there's a women's one on the
Oh,
bed now.
congratulations! That's fantastic.
Cool, thanks, Ben.
So I see the picture in the background. Durban rugby side, of course, 2019 champions. Let's catch up a little bit. 3, 4, 5 months now, where you guys went through phase 1 of 4 weeks, and then you went through a phase 2 of 4 weeks, and then eventually you got to a space where you were able to play a couple of friendlies. Talk us through the last few months since we spoke last.
Yeah, was lucky to be back on the field again. See the boys enjoying themselves. We had some nice tough friendlies that we played, did well against them. Was looking forward to the season starting, and then all of a sudden, just a week or so before the season, boom, they said no more rugby for us for the time now. So boys are still practicing. They've got a program that they have to do on their own. So yeah, eager to see them again on the field and take it further.
So how was that transition for you? I mean, I know when we spoke last, we were talking about the challenges of coaching, but you were in that first 4 weeks, you were unable, of course, to make any contact, and then the second 4 weeks, you were able to make some form of contact, even though that was limited. I mean, how was that for you, moving the transition from that sort of non-contact training into a fixture?
Yeah, it was the first few weeks when we started having contact after that first initial time. It was quite tense on our side because we were wondering if the players would take the contact, and they surprised us a lot. They took contact. None actually got hurt. From game time, you could see that match fitness that they needed, but later on it was starting to get there, and they were starting to play well as a team, and like I said, we were ready for the season. We are up for it.
It seems like we've got that same message from a lot of people, that the strength and conditioning that the players were doing even in isolation had paid off, and the number of the players in fact came back to training stronger and heavier.
Yeah. So we had a session or our week was one day at CrossFit, the Monday, and then the Tuesday and the Thursday we would practice on the field, and I think the CrossFit helped a lot with that strength. Some of the guys actually got back better than they was previously, and stronger. So that's great, because of some of them actually joined the CrossFit CrossFit gym, and you could see the difference in their play and their ability. Yeah.
Where are we at now, Marius? Of course, we know that there's no fixtures at the moment. Everybody's waiting well, firstly, people are waiting for the COVID to reduce, but following that, we wait and see what announcements are on the cards from government, from SA Rugby, Western Province Rugby, and so on. Are you guys at least able to stay in touch with the players? I mean, you had 18 months of practice of, I'm not talking about physical practice, but practice of reaching out on WhatsApp, reaching out on Facebook, finding creative ways to keep the players connected, as we see on the screen here. That's what we've been trying to do, obviously. Have you now been able to kick those gears back into action?
Yeah, we've sent through a program that they need to follow. Listen, it's all up to the players. If they want to follow it, they can follow it. Hopefully they follow it, but if they come back and they're not up to standard, they're not gonna play. We don't worry about the names. We worry about the people that's actually on the field and going to perform. The best player plays every time, so they know it, and they're working hard. I've tried to do it myself, one of the exercises, but no, this 41-year-old body can't do this anymore. So I gave up after a few minutes. But some of them are enjoying it. They're working hard. So we up for it, eh?
Of course, behind the scenes, you've got a management structure at Durban, a very big, successful management structure that is always concerned about the facilities, concerned about the membership. They themselves must be stressing about the membership retention and keeping members and keeping them motivated and happy, so that when the doors open one day, people will just come straight back. Are your management structures also sitting around the virtual table, brainstorming different ways to engage with? I mean, you've got different structures as well, including past players structures and youth structures, and fans and regulars who would ordinarily come to the club and pop in. Are they doing different things to keep the supporters club happy?
They are. Listen, we're not a club that boasts too much about on Facebook, so we try and take it low back, because we'd rather perform on the field and let the players come, or the people come and do. But yeah, there was some exciting stuff that we were planning for if the season start, like showing the games inside the going live, like Falspire is doing. We were planning that, and also if a restaurant was there and people could go there, and there's a certain amount of people that can go there. They can watch a game there via video. So yeah, there was planning. They were thinking about it. But luckily we're a community club, and the community around us, they like to support us at the field. So we just wait now for this whole thing to go past, so that we can get people next to the field and play for it. That's what the players like. I must say this: the few friendlies that we had was quite weird. Playing at a Tygerberg with no spectators, playing at a Hamlets with no spectators, so playing at Durban with no spectators. So it was like a weird sensation, but it's reality. We have to adapt and go on, because like Johanna always said, you can control the controllables. So we have to control what we do on the field. And listen, rugby is between the four lines, so you have to play before the four lines and play the best that you can play.
Yeah. Marius, difficult times. I'm looking forward to finding out what comes next for you guys. It's nice catching up with you, and of course we pass on our best wishes to you and everybody out there, all the players, all the supporters, the management at Durban, and we say to you guys, stay safe out there, and hopefully we'll get some positive news in the near future.
Yeah. Here's my thumbs. I hope you can see it. I'm holding it. Hopefully we can get some good news soon. And thank you, and the same to everybody out there. Please keep safe. This virus is not something to play with. Do what everybody says. Do what's the best for you, and stay home and wear your mask. And keep safe. That's all I can say. And hopefully rugby will return soon.
Yeah, thanks, Marius. Yes. Hopefully we will see rugby back soon, but I suppose we have to continue to wait for the announcements as they come out, and I'm sure everybody is also double holding thumbs. And folks, of course, big thanks to everybody that has contributed to their messages on the ticker line that you're seeing behind the screens here, at least at the bottom of the screen. Everybody giving their message of support and well wishes for those out there as we all continue to fight this COVID pandemic. Difficult times for everybody at the moment. Folks, when we come back from the break, we carry on talking about club rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. You're, of course, watching Cape Rugby TV, and it's nice to have you along. And we, of course, carry on talking about what's happening in the world of club rugby. Back on the line with me now, we haven't spoken to him for a few weeks, Sabelo Njanwa, the Deputy President for Young Ideas. Sabelo, welcome back to Cape Rugby TV. How are things there with you?
No, great, JP. Thanks again for having us back. It's always nice to be on your show.
Let's go back a few weeks. The last time we spoke, I mean, a lot of the clubs making sure that they were staying connected to their members, finding creative ways to keep the club, the players active during these very difficult times. But then after that, slowly, there was some positive movement. Teams were allowed to start that first 4-week phase of non-contact training, and then after that, you guys went into the second 4-week phase of where you were allowed to do some form of, and of course under the regulations we know that, of contact training. And then it was announced that you were starting to play a few friendly fixtures. Walk us a little bit through the last 3 months, Sabella, of what's been happening at Young Ideas.
Look, you would remember that since COVID, especially last year, which we've not been playing, but of course, within ourselves, we came up with creative ideas where we did hikings and some long walks just to keep the players fit. It was lovely again to have the entire, team, of course, under strict regulations, having back on the field of play for them just to have an unconduct practice. But most importantly, the 3 friendlies that we've played, which of course, to see that our players were so desperate about it, we've won all of those. It was nice to see them in action, Look, I kind of think that most players are so hungry, not only players of Young Ideas, but generally, you are so hungry of rugby. It's even difficult just to sit back and doing nothing. But because now we've started playing, we have not stopped the momentum. But of course, we are going back on what we've built up in the previous term, where we would do some long walks. This coming Saturday, we've got a long walk for the centre.
You're saying you're back to the long walks.
Walk back to the long walks. This coming Saturday, we've got a long walk from Zevenwacht Mall up until, Asara post Polka Dry on the Stellenbosch arterial. And of course, in that different walk, which will be mostly pairs of 3s, because we must still keep the regulations, but there's also some exercise, from pole to pole. Other pole you jog, other pole you sprint, other pole you do some resistant work as well, so that we can keep the momentum, because we've been ignited by the 3 friendlies that we've played. We're so hungry and want to be ready when it opens up, because I believe after Sunday there is a meeting again to consider if the president is opening up, to consider when we're starting with the fixtures as well. So we want to be ready when that time happens.
Yeah, these are of course all the various announcements that everybody keeps waiting for, and then making those adjustments as these various government or sports institutions make their announcements, and that must be difficult as well. I mean, for you guys as a sport, we know that yesterday there was a workshop from Western Province on club membership recruitment and rejuvenation. And looking at the Western Province Rugby and the club structures activity over the last 18 months, you must have some sort of, call it, experience that you've now built up with your members' structures on how to react every time there's a new announcement. I think the kind of challenges maybe that we had previously was, a last-minute announcement if the bus was going to be at a different location, or if you had to wear a different jersey. The challenges today are different. You get a last-minute announcement on COVID matters.
Yeah. Look, I guess it's a new normal. We have to readjust to it. But for us, the whole issue of COVID has been beneficial. I'll tell you why. We went around some few townships, especially the Mfuleni township. We found a lot of young boys that were playing in the slump. We then thought we could do something better with those boys. I can tell you now, we've got over 75 young boys that we've broken down to under 11 and under 16 and under 20, which under 20, most of those boys form part of our second team. We found them playing during COVID in the slums. We've just formalized them, where we're then able to give them a proper rugby ball, took them to a school rugby field, and have some dedicated players of ours who will then take them through and coach them. It was marvelous to see them. When we're playing the friendlies, we've also asked to have games for them. You see, under 11s and under 16s, and of course under 20s now, we've thrown them into our second team. So you could see, and I'm telling you, we've done our our data on them in terms of where do they come from, their parents, where they reside. We've got over 75 of that. Now, if we do it right and we keep it right, it therefore tells you we are supposed to prolong our stay in existence, which for us, I think we've seen it as a big positive. And of course, with that and what we've experienced, we've got a basket of things to live on.
Yeah.
You know, so there's been a lot of positive. In actual fact, there's also a lady, if you allow me, JP, there's a lady that we found who's a former Springbok player, Poswa.
Yes.
You know, she's in our club. We've brought her into our executive throughout this process. But not only that, we then said to her, look, you've been a Springbok player, and look around us. There isn't much female players that are within our club. Can you then go out to schools and be able to recruit them? And not necessarily recruit them for a club, but recruit them so that there's a long base of women rugby that we support as a club, which also Western Province can tap on, because you can't have you with so much skills just sitting and be in that school. And that is going very well for that matter. You know, in fact, if I may take it further, just a few days ago, I was helping her to open up a foundation which specifically is going to deal with developing rugby in schools. Out of that, we will benefit as a club as well. Western Province will benefit. So there have been a lot of positives, just that we need to know the skill set that we have around us as a club and how best can we utilize those.
So Bella, we of course have to leave it at that. Just from a practical point of view, to keep your process going there, if anybody wants to join, if everybody wants to join your structures, exactly what it is that you're busy doing now, whether they want to join as players, as general members, as fans, as past players, women's structure, youth structure, those doors are all open, obviously, from a Young Ideas perspective. How do they join? Is it a Facebook matter, going onto the Facebook page and reaching out to you?
For now, we've not necessarily launched the Facebook page, but we are ready to do that.
Okay.
But what we have done, we do have other platforms. I think in the next few weeks, JP would have a Facebook page with all the contact details and everything that they need. I think next time you were to invite me, I would be able to direct yourself also to a few weeks before anything.
In the meantime, I think that we'll tell people that if anybody wants to join your structures, they can send the Cape Rugby Show a message, and we'll pass it on. We'll pass it on to your side. So Bella, we'll say thank you to you and to everybody out there, part of the squad. Fantastic work. We look forward to following the progress. We look forward to seeing local business really invest in you and the structures out there. And most importantly, we say to you guys, stay safe.
Thank you, JP. Thank you for always giving us the platform and trying to promote our rugby. And please stay safe. We've got this message as a club that you are the master of your own safety towards COVID chaos. So please, we also want to send that to you as well. And I think thanks again for the message you've sent today so that we can be able to send these messages. We can't take that lightly. We want, when the season is open, to still come on this platform and be able to see even the previous players and administrators. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abello. All right, folks. Well, great to see Young Ideas active behind the scenes and coming up with creative ways to keep their members active. Right, folks. Well, of course, as you know, Score Energy Drinks is on board with Western Province Rugby and the Western Province Club Rugby Sevens. So if you want to win yourself a case of Score, you will know that, of course, the competition is running on a weekly basis on Facebook, where you can win yourself a case of Score Energy Drinks, a case of Bashu's Cool Drinks, as well as a set of Cape Rugby TV masks. These masks are, of course, courtesy of CTC Sports, but it's a case of 24 Score Energy Drinks, a case of Bashu's Cool Drinks, and, of course, a set of Cape Rugby TV masks. 24, so they match, the set match. 24, 24, and 24. Now, we, of course, asked a question last week on Facebook. We asked the question, who won the Western Province Score Sevens tournament in 2019? And, of course, the correct answer there was Tygerberg. And then congratulations to the winner, Dirk Witboy. Dirk answered the question correctly. It was indeed Tygerberg, winner of the Score Western Province Rugby Sevens tournament in 2019. Dirk, you walk away with a case of Score Energy Drinks. Of course, you can see it behind me here, as well as a set of case of Bashu's and a set of Cape Rugby TV masks. We'll get a hold of you on Facebook. Right, folks, remember you can, of course, follow that Facebook thread on a weekly basis and answer those questions to put yourself in the mix to win this prize. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we carry on taking a look at what's happening in the world of club rugby. Back in a sec. Welcome back, folks. You're, of course, watching Cape Rugby TV. Nice to have you along. We carry on talking about what's happening in the world of club rugby. And, of course, as you know, not much activity happening at the moment. But nevertheless, our sports administrators behind the scenes remain busy. They've been, in fact, busy in new fashions for the past 18 months, finding creative ways to keep their members busy, and we've been speaking to obviously a number of the clubs, and of course you will remember just a few weeks ago, in fact, the clubs did manage to have a couple of friendly fixtures and went through the various phases of training. Mohammed Steerman is the president of Caledonian Roses. He's been on the show with us a couple of times, and of course, well, not a couple of times, many times. Mohammed, how are things there with you?
Hi JP, very well, thank you. Just hanging in there with this COVID period, you know, having many repercussions over our heads, but yeah, we're hanging on.
So you would have heard me there in the intro. Let's backtrack a few months. It was a few months ago, of course, since we last, or a few weeks, few months, we lose track of when we last spoke. But we did go through those phases. We went through the return to training phases where you were able to do non-contact training, and then 4 weeks of some form of contact training. How was that to get the players back on the field and see them at practice?
Yo, JP, that was exciting times. I can really attest to the fact that the guys really loved being or missed being on the field itself. That 4 weeks of non-contact, went so fast. The guys couldn't get enough of that, obviously. But then the main thing was to be in contact with one another, having that contact, because rugby is obviously a contact sport. And the following 4 weeks after that was, as exciting. We saw the numbers growing from the first week we had about 26 people 26 players on the field. The second week that grew to 40 players, and the number just increased on a weekly basis. In the last 4 weeks of contact training, I think we had something like 100 players on the field.
In that first phase, and you had 24 players on the field, was there a time in your mind that you thought, are they coming back?
Yes, definitely. Look, there was a lot of players that has also left the club in that period, because we went over to new systems from the Western Province side, and we had to sort of like start registering the players. And when you made contact with those players that has left, you're obviously at the back of your mind saying, are we ever going to get to the numbers that we had prior to the COVID period itself?
But your systems kicked in, your WhatsApp messages and WhatsApp to say, come. It just came straight back. So you ended up with in excess of 100 players back at Kelly's.
Exactly. That was good, because the numbers, you could see that there was definitely an interest in rugby itself, and there was an increase of those players that wanted to make contact. And this was just not your seniors, it was also from your juniors perspective, because we allowed our under-19s to be on the field as well during that 8-week period, which was also a good thing to see, that the numbers in terms of your juniors is also increasing from that aspect.
Yeah.
But the one thing that was standing out for me was the fact that the word of mouth obviously got around. The fact that we've made use of our WhatsApp messages to the teams itself. Yeah. We created groups where we basically said that these are the people that belongs in certain areas of the age groups itself, and where they will find themselves. And that is how we try to communicate with them, on a weekly basis. Word of mouth obviously is your best communicator in terms of you telling your friend, look here, the college is back at training. You need to be on the
Bring
field
your boots.
as well.
We're going to practice tonight.
Exactly. That was very interesting, and that obviously made the numbers grow as well, which we were happy about that.
Of course, behind the scenes, I mean, none of this stuff just happens by accident. Behind the scenes, you have to be administratively active all the time. And even though there's no fixtures or practice at the moment, you guys still have been very active behind the scenes. You're talking about management structures who are talking to each other and WhatsApp groups. All this takes time.
Yes, definitely. Look, remember that even though the season has been postponed throughout this COVID period, there's constantly been communication between the Western Province offices, the clubs itself, where clubs were talking to each other, finding out exactly what they can do in order to improve what is happening on their club side. Administratively, you know, obviously that every player needs to be registered, needs to have a player's card, and all of those things takes time to sort of like get into place. Not only that, remember that the club has also grown. So you're going to need new things to be brought into the club structures. We, from our side, made sure that we had to order our socks, we had to order new tracksuits, we had to order new playing gear and things like that. Not only does it take money out of the club, but it's something that keeps the administrative guys active, making sure that we are prepared for when the season is open, that we are, you know, on par with where the other clubs is.
So you've got a lot
Obviously,
of coordinating to do,
challenge.
checking
Yes,
different, how many
definitely.
sizes you need and how many different
Look,
types
that
of
obviously that
Yeah.
takes that administratively that takes a lot of time.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, to get the right sizes. I mean, we as a club are struggling in order to make sure that we at least make sure that the guys look, you know, like rugby players. Back in the day, our coaches used to tell us,
Yeah.
it's all good and well that you can play rugby, but if you don't look like a rugby player, then people don't see you as a rugby player, because you know you need to be coordinated, and that's what we're trying to do. Make sure that everything and every facet of playing rugby is administratively that is correct, by having
Yes.
your player cards, by having your jerseys, by having your
So a
socks.
lot of
You know, and
admin.
players need to, that all forms part of discipline on the field as well, and that's how people start respecting you as well. So it's
Mohammed,
important.
give us a rundown of the friendly fixtures. We know at the time when there were friendlies, that must have been very exciting for the players to actually play a game.
Look, our first game we played against Violets, RFC, which is out in the Kenwan area,
Yeah,
and
Chucky Road, yeah.
you can see the excitement on that day. I mean, never before have we been tested so much in terms of making sure that everything is prepared in terms of the COVID protocols that needed to be in place. And the guys were really excited. I mean, on the day itself, I think we were about close to 110 players on the
Wow.
field, and we could only play two teams. We only had the second team
That's
and the
right.
first team playing.
That's right.
So the one good thing that we decided between the two clubs was that we're going to use the rolling subs, because everybody obviously wanted to be on the field. But also the nightmare that came with that was that we had to make sure that everybody is COVID, you know, that we followed the proper protocols in terms of the
Yeah.
COVID regulations.
Yeah.
So everybody that was not playing had to be, you know, separated from one another. They had to wear their mask when they were not playing. Those kind of things. The club itself had to so obviously make sure that they have the scanning tools that would scan the temperature of the
Yeah.
players, sanitizers that needed to be in place. I think the Friday morning, myself and Jay Jaffa still went out and we went to go buy sachets of water, because everybody couldn't drink out of the same bottle. We had to go and buy sachets of water that we've never done ever before.
How did the players feel about their first games in terms of the fact that they were passing the ball around, actual rugby, playing rugby?
Look, it was tough. It was tough because they could see where the levels of fitness was as well.
Right.
You know, the second team went down, the first team went down as well. But the experience and the game time that they got on the day, that is something that you can't take away from the guys, obviously, because not only haven't they played rugby for almost a year and a half, this was the first time that they were making contact with another team, with opposition.
Yeah.
And that obviously, as a rugby player, is important, that you have to have that contact. New people are obviously introduced. You obviously don't have the players that you would have played with over the last 2 years, because new faces are you know, are brought into the game. And that is also exciting times, because now you're forging new relationships with people as well, which is a good thing. And I think the players was very excited. The rugby on the day, for them, you know, everybody has that winning mentality, but it doesn't go about the winning.
And you were able to just stand on the side of the field
Standing inside the field and actually having a rugby that you haven't had
having
for the
rugby,
last year and a
which
half.
is ultimately the thing that
That's
we do.
important.
Mohammed, let's
Exactly.
leave it at that. We have to wrap it up. I want to just ask you, on a final note, you're our last segment on the show this evening. Is there a shout out, a quick shout out, not necessarily, but let's say a word of encouragement that you have for people out there, and maybe even a message of safety in terms of protocol? I mean, COVID.
JP, definitely, to all our players, first of all, not only Caledonian Rugby Football Club, but to all the players in the fraternity, in the rugby fraternity. Guys, rugby will always be there, but losing a life is definitely something that we have to look at. And rugby cannot replace a life, ever. So for this period, we have to just adhere to whatever protocols is in place. We have to adhere to exactly what is coming from not only SARU, but Western Province Rugby Football Union as well. We need to keep safe. We need to keep everybody safe. And just look out after yourselves. And do whatever preparations that you need to do in order to make sure that we come through this this pandemic, with our heads up high, knowing that we have made sure that we catered for the life of everybody out there. Rugby, like I said, will always be there, but having a mate and having a friend standing next to you on the rugby field is much better than not having him there. So keep safe, keep your family safe, and just look after yourselves.
Thanks, Muhammad. There we go, folks. Muhammad Stearman, the president of Caledonian Roses. And yes, well, I'm sure everybody's missing, if we just think about it now, simply missing the ability to have training. We look forward to see what announcements come in. And echoing the words then of Muhammad, I will also go on to say, folks, if you are out there right now, please remember that you must follow all of the health and safety protocols. This is very important. We're all in this together. And remember to wear your mask. Wash your hands, practice social distancing, and wear your mask. And just a reminder again, when you wear that mask, please wear it in the correct manner. Wear the mask over your mouth and over your nose. The mask must cover your mouth and your nose. This is very important. We're all in this together. And we'll say to all of you out there, please stay safe. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Have a fantastic rugby weekend. Bye-bye.